G'day, it's fugitive Australian journalist Shane Dowling from the website kangaroocourtofaustralia.com. Now, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has managed to get independent Helen Haines to start pushing the government's lies and propaganda in relation to the National Anti-Corruption Commission. On Monday, Helen Haines went on the ABC radio in Melbourne and started pushing the idea that all hearings at the National Anti-Corruption Commission should be in private except for exceptional circumstances. Now, based on the reporting, Helen Haines seems to be confused exactly what a private hearing is and what a public hearing is and what a private examination is. If she doesn't understand the difference, she shouldn't be commenting publicly on them. But she's doing it, and she's playing a very dangerous game, because if she continues to promote the lies and propaganda Anthony Albanese and Attorney General Mark Dreyfus are pushing, she's going to end up being accused of being a Labor Party puppet. That's a very dangerous game, very dangerous position to be in. You just have to ask Tony Windsor and Rob Oakeshott, who supported the Julia Gillard government from 2010 to 2013, where their reputations were trashed. They became known as Labor Party puppets, whether rightly or wrongly. They didn't have much of a choice. They only had a choice between Julia Gillard and Tony Abbott. But once they jumped in bed with Julia Gillard and her government, their popularity started nosediving at a rapid pace. Rob Oakeshott and Tony Windsor, their reputation started nosediving as well, because they got labelled as Labor Party puppets. They both resigned before the 2013 election. I think they would have struggled to get re-elected then, but they tried again in 2016 and they both failed. But that's another story. I don't want to go down that path too much, but it's very telling for Helen Haines and all other independents who are currently in the federal government. They've been elected to drive a couple of key issues. One of those key issues is the National Anti-Corruption Commission, and Helen Haines has been driving it, and she should be congratulated for doing it. But right at the last minute, she seems to have fallen over the hurdle and started pushing Labor Party lies that there's a need for part of the legislation to outline that only public hearings are held in exceptional circumstances. Now, that's a big sucker punch by the government. They've deliberately confused private hearings or private examinations with public hearings. Now, the private examinations where they call in witnesses individually with their lawyers and question them. They probably have 15, 20 or 30 of them before they have a public hearing. And they have those private examinations to gather their evidence. Now, Helen Haines seems to have fallen for the government's push to confuse people on it, and she's saying, yes, there's reasons why the hearings are in private initially. That's to gather evidence that could have a negative impact on the investigation. But they're not hearings, Helen. They're what's called private examinations, and you need to stop confusing the two, because that's what the government want you to do. They want you to confuse the two. They are private examinations, and of course they should be held in private. So the people they're investigating don't get wind of it. And those private examinations the New South Wales ICAC have, if people are called in for a private examination, it's actually illegal for them to tell other people or tell anyone that they've been called in for a private examination. That way the New South Wales ICAC can conduct the investigation without alerting the people they're investigating until the last minute. Then they'll call them in for a private examination. And then once they've got all the evidence, they'll have a public hearing. But the government are trying to confuse that, private examinations up against public hearings, so they can rattle off statistics showing, they rarely have a public hearing anyhow. Well, bullshit. 100% of their hearings are public in the New South Wales ICAC. It's only the private examinations that are always in private. So there's no need to have a element in the legislation for the Federal National Anti-Corruption Commission that all hearings are private except for exceptional circumstances, because all the private examinations are going to be private, as they are with New South Wales ICAC, as they are with other anti-corruption commissions. But the hearings, well, they all got to be public. And the New South Wales Independent Commission Against Corruption Commissioner even said that. How can you make a finding of corruption if it's in private? That's a very dangerous game to be doing that. And that's in effect what the federal government want to do. Now, I'll have a lot more to say on this on my website, Kangaroo Court of Australia, an article I'll be publishing on the 2nd of November 2022. So make sure you read that article, and I'll have links there to further information. Now, the Patreon account I set up roughly 8 weeks ago is currently sitting on 223 patrons, so please support that. You can donate any amount, $3, $5, $10, $15, $20, whatever suits your budget. It all helps out. Most people can afford $3 or $5 a month. There'll be a link below the video on YouTube to click on to go to the Patreon page, or you can visit my website and there's Patreon buttons on numerous places. And please share this video on Facebook and Twitter, etc. Thank you for your time and have a good day.